Domestic violence can affect everyone and anyone. Because of its detrimental effects, what has the United States implemented to help combat this issue? Our federal response to domestic violence is the FVPSA, which is the Family Violence Prevention and Services Program. This act is dedicated to supporting emergency and resource centers and programs and promotes awareness to the public. So why should we support this act? Domestic violence can hurt anyone and has already hurt a myriad of people. Through this act, victims can be supported and awareness can be spread to help curb its issues. The three main reasons I'll be covering explaining why we should support the FVPSA are: number one, the FVPSA funds shelter domestic violence victims. Two, it helps bring awareness to the issues of domestic violence. And three, its current lack of support is already affecting the lives of victims. The first reason this act is effective in helping domestic violence is because the FVPSA can create a safe place for those who experience domestic violence or in danger by someone within their domestic circle. The FVPSA has provided a myriad of emergency shelters for victims in many different states and territories. In the Learn About FVPSA website, it states that the FVPSA's funds are rewarded to every state in over 200 tribal communities. It also states that it served over 1.3 million victims and their children and responded to 2.7 million crisis calls in a recent 12-month period. And in the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act, it states that more than 2,000 domestic violence shelters and safe houses in the United States use FVPSA funding to provide shelter and services for victims and children. A second reason this act helped curb domestic violence is it has helped more people know about it. The FVPSA funds programs that provide programs that help bring domestic violence to children and adults in many communities. In the Learn About FVPSA website, it states that in 2012, FVPSA funded programs provided over 178,000 presentations, reaching almost 2.5 million adults and 2.3 million youths. In the Family Violence Prevention and Services website, it states that the FVPSA works with the Office of Child Support Programs to coordinate training, policy, and programmatic efforts to address domestic violence in the child support context. The third reason to support this act is because we can already see how the lack of resources in this issue has without it. The FVPSA needs to be reauthorized because domestic violence is still significantly prevalent. The FVPSA has not been reauthorized since 2010 and has expired in 2015 it has left many victims astray. It can be found in the Domestic Violence Still Counts NNEDV's 12th annual national census that in the 2000 census revealed for just one day, 11,441 requests for services went unmet due to the lack of funding and resources for domestic violence. And of those unmet requests, 65% of those were for safe housing. And the YWCA, a program funded by the FVPSA, brought so much impact to the survivors. Domestic violence is an issue prevalent today, and that is why it is even more necessary to support the FVPSA and encourage to reauthorize it. The three main reasons to support the FVPSA that I have went over today are: number one, the FVPSA funds help ensure that victims have a safe place that they can turn to when they experience dangerous violence and abuse. Number two, the FVPSA has helped bring awareness and supported programs to educate adults and children about domestic violence. And three, due to the lack of current support, victims are not getting the proper help that they deserve. Through the support and funding of FVPSA, or the Family Violence Prevention and Services Act, domestic violence victims can be effectively supported. Domestic violence is an issue prevalent today, and that is why it is even more necessary to support the FVPSA and encourage to reauthorize it. To show the innocent victims that are afraid that they are not alone, we should support the FVPSA. Thank you.